The snow reached my ankles when I heard the deadbolt click. I turned toward the door, but the glass was already fogging from my breath. Through it, I saw my mother still holding the lock. She wasn't joking. "Servants sleep outside," she said. Her voice came muffled through the thick wood. She didn't yell. She didn't need to. The cold cut through my thin pajamas like needles. I pressed my hand to the door, hoping she'd see me. "Mom, please. It's 15 degrees." My breath turned to frost as I spoke. Upstairs, a window creaked open. My brother's voice came down warm and smug. "Maybe the cold'll teach you respect," Blake said, chewing something loud. 23 years old, still living at home, still being served like a king. I was shivering on the porch. He was eating chips in his heated room. That's when I realized this wasn't punishment. It was power. I stood there barefoot, the snow biting through skin, then muscle, then bone. The porch light flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed the last bit of warmth. "Please," I whispered again, but no one answered. Only silence. And the crunch of Blake's chips from above. He hadn't closed the window. "Next time I say I'm hungry, you move. Got it." His voice dripped with arrogance. He laughed, like it was a game. This wasn't about a sandwich. It never was. It was about control, about making sure I knew my place. Inside, I could hear the recliner creak, my father's voice low and slow. "It's about roles, Emma. Boys eat, girls serve. Like a sermon, like scripture." They wanted me to break, to beg harder, to apologize for forgetting who I was to them. But I didn't cry, not yet. The cold had taken that too. I looked up at the sky. Gray clouds, no stars, no hope, just snow, and the door that stayed closed. This wasn't the first time, just the coldest. They'd locked me out before in summer for refusing to wash Blake's car, in spring when I said no to folding his laundry, but never in the snow, never when my weather app had warned wind chill -5. Dangerous exposure in under an hour. I reached for my pockets. Empty. My phone, my coat, my shoes, all left upstairs on my nightstand. I stood in silence, teeth clenched, body shaking. Mrs. Campbell's lights were still on next door. Her curtain shifted. She saw me, then the light clicked off. She knew better. Everyone did. No one questioned the Whitmores. The street was still. Only the snow moved drifting past my ankles, piling at the steps, swallowing me inch by inch. I wasn't even a daughter anymore, just a shadow outside my own home. One mistake away from frostbite, and no one cared. Because girls like me didn't get rescued. We were meant to learn. I tried the back door, locked. The garage bolted from the inside. Even the shed where Dad kept his tools padlocked like they'd planned this. This wasn't a reaction. It was a setup, a lesson carefully arranged. I stumbled toward the side gate. Snow filled my slippers. My fingers burned, then went numb. Each breath came sharper, colder, thinner. An hour passed. I couldn't feel my feet. 2 hours in my hands stopped shaking. That scared me most. Stillness wasn't peace. It was danger. I'd studied enough biology to know hypothermia starts quietly. You stop feeling before you stop breathing. And yet, my parents called me dramatic. Said I read too much. That books wouldn't keep a husband fed. I wanted to scream, but I was too tired, too frozen. I looked back at the house. Lights on, fireplace glowing, laughter somewhere upstairs. I wasn't locked out by accident. I was locked out by design. Then I saw it. Blake's car, parked like always angled just right in the driveway, his precious BMW, the one Mom and Dad gave him for graduating with a 2.1 GPA. While I got a pat on the head for earning a full scholarship. He never locked it. Why would he? Who would dare touch Blake Whitmore's car? But tonight I wasn't afraid. I was freezing. Desperate. I stumbled over legs, stiff hands barely working. The door handle clicked open. Leather seats, still warm from earlier. Not much, but enough. Enough to save me. I crawled inside. My breath fogged the windshield. His gym bag was in the back, sweaty but full of clothes, a hoodie, socks, even protein bars. In the glove box, his emergency credit card. Gas and essentials, Mom always said. I sat there wrapped in his hoodie, drenched in cologne and entitlement, and made a decision. Not a plan, not yet. Just this, I'd never be locked out again. I waited, still silent, hidden beneath Blake's hoodie. My body began to thaw, but something colder settled inside me. By 4 a.m., the house went still. No footsteps, no voices. They were deep in sleep, dreaming safe, warm. I shifted to the driver's seat, turned the key one click, just enough to release the brake. The car rolled backwards, soft over snow, no engine, no noise, just momentum and will. At the end of the street, I turned it on. The heat blasted. It stung, but I welcomed the pain. There were no tears, only focus. The credit card had a $5,000 limit. I knew because I used to check the bills. I used to track every dollar while they mocked me for caring too much. I had no map, no destination, just one goal, disappear. But first, I needed warmth and silence. A place without locks, without doors slammed in my face. A place where I could finally breathe. The hotel wasn't fancy. Peeling wallpaper, a flickering hallway light, but the room was warm and quiet. I paid in cash, no questions asked. The clerk barely looked at me. That felt like mercy. Inside, I peeled off the hoodie. My fingers were red, swollen, but I could move them again. I was alive. I curled under the thin blanket, still wearing Blake's gym socks, still tasting snow in the back of my throat. My eyes stayed open, not from fear, from clarity. I had nothing, but also nothing left to lose. No home, no family, just time. And a card with someone else's name. By morning, I made a list. Clothes, phone, food, things to survive, things to start over. Then I circled one more word, proof. Because if they ever came after me, I couldn't just run. I'd need to show the world who the Whitmores really were. And soon I would. One receipt at a time. I walked into a 24-hour Walmart just after sunrise, still in pajama pants and Blake's hoodie. No one stared, no one cared. First warm clothes, thick jeans, boots, a coat with a hood deep enough to hide behind. Next, a prepaid phone. No contracts, no trace. A new number, a new start, then a laptop. Nothing fancy. Just enough for what I needed, a digital lifeline. My records, my backups, my leverage, gift cards too, bought with Blake's credit. Harder to trace, easier to move. Last, a backpack, black, durable, quiet. It held my second life now. As I checked out, I felt something strange, not fear, not guilt, relief. They'd tried to erase me, turn me into nothing. But here I was, rebuilding one barcode at a time. I didn't know where I'd sleep tomorrow, but today I had choices. Today I was invisible, and for the first time, that made me powerful. I couldn't leave without saying something. Not to them, but to the world they hid behind. I drove Blake's car to the worst part of town. Boarded windows, broken sidewalks, the kind of place they warned me never to go. I parked under a flickering street lamp, left the keys in the ignition, doors unlocked, wallet in the console. Let him explain that to insurance. Then I walked away, backpack over my shoulder, breath visible in the morning air. No goodbye note, no drama, just absence. By the time they noticed I was gone, I'd be hours away. No phone, no trail, only a name they'd start whispering with fear instead of command. Emma. The quiet one, the helper, the servant, gone. I bought a bus ticket with a gift card, no ID required, one way. The driver didn't ask where I came from, only where I was going. I told him, Oregon, and took the window seat, facing forward. By 8 a.m., the phone started buzzing, my new one. Somehow they had the number, maybe the hotel, maybe a receipt. Didn't matter. Voicemail after voicemail. Mom's came first, shaky, shrill. Where are you? Blake has a job interview. He needs his car, you selfish little... Then Dad, calmer, colder. You've stolen from us. That's a crime. We will press charges. Then Blake, short, direct. I'll find you. And when I do, you'll wish we left you outside longer. I didn't flinch. I just listened. Each word hardened something in me. I wasn't scared. I was done. Done waiting to be loved. done hoping they'd change. I turned the phone to silent. No replies, no explanations. Instead, I opened the laptop, searched jobs in every city within 1,000 miles, applied for all of them, waited for one to say yes. I wasn't just running, I was rebuilding, and they couldn't stop it this time. While they raged, I worked, quietly, precisely, opening folders they never knew I had. For years, I'd been saving things. Screenshots, emails, conversations they assumed I wasn't listening to. When you're treated like furniture, you hear everything. Dad's consulting job that never filed taxes. Mom's little pill exchange with the wine moms. Blake's so-called photography hobby, secret gym. Photos sold without consent. I wasn't curious. I was careful, because something in me always knew one day I'd need proof. Receipts from drugstore runs, audio clips from family dinners. Even Blake's laptop I'd fixed after his browsing habits wrecked it. I had it all. Saved to cloud storage under a fake name, locked and double-backed. I didn't release it. Not yet. But the weight of it sat in my hands like a key. If they tried to find me to drag me back, I wouldn't run. I'd expose everything and let the truth do what the cold never could, destroy them. The job came faster than I expected. A live-in nanny position, 3 kids, recently divorced mom, Portland, Oregon. I applied on instinct, sent a short message, no resume, no fluff, just truth. I'm dependable, quiet, used to managing chaos. An hour later, she called. Her voice was tired but kind. Her name was Diane. "You sound experienced," she said. After I answered every question with calm I didn't know I had. "You okay? Moving this far? No family ties." I paused, then said it clearly. "No family." She didn't ask more. She didn't need to. "You start Monday," she said. "I'll pick you up from the station." I hung up and stared at the screen. I had a place, not just a job, a door opening where every other had slammed shut. And for once, I wasn't walking into service. I was walking into safety, maybe even something close to home. The bus ride took 2 days, crossing frozen fields, empty highways, towns I'd never heard of. I sat by the window, wrapped in the coat from Walmart, hood pulled low, earbuds, and no music, just silence. Every time the door hissed open, I flinched, half expecting to see Dad's silhouette, Blake's glare. But no one came, no one followed. The farther we drove, the more their voices faded. Oregon came into view under gray skies. Thinner snow, but still cold, still familiar, and yet different. Not heavy, not suffocating, just air and ice and distance, the kind that heals. At one rest stop, I saw a girl about my age laughing with her mom. They shared a sandwich. No yelling, no rules. I turned away. Too much to feel, too soon to miss what I never had. But as the bus pulled forward, I whispered to myself, this time, I'm not going back. Diane met me at the station. No clipboard, no judgment, just a warm coat and a soft smile. "You must be Emma," she said. Like it was simple. Like I wasn't carrying a different name, a different life in one black backpack. Her car smelled like vanilla and coffee. The back seat had crayons, snack wrappers, tiny signs of a home that didn't punish mess. Her house wasn't big, but it breathed. Walls painted in soft colors, photos taped up by small hands. The kids ran to the door. 3 of them, all under 10. "Is this the new Emma?" one whispered. I smiled, just barely. He reached out, took my hand. That night, I slept in a real bed. Clean sheets, a locked door, but from the inside. No yelling, no rules barked from recliners, no one checking if I obeyed, just the sound of breathing in the next room, and a single thought repeating, "I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe." The first morning I made pancakes. The kids said, "Please and thank you." They cleared their plates without being told. Diane left a note on the counter. "Don't worry about dishes. Rest today." I read it twice, not believing it. She noticed my sneakers thin worn. The next day, she handed me a box. Inside, brand new winter boots. "These are too expensive," I said, trying to hand them back. "Nonsense," she smiled. You take care of my babies. Warm feet are the least I can do. I almost cried, not because of the boots, but because it felt like care, real care, without conditions, without control. 21 years in that house, and a stranger had shown me more kindness in 1 week than my family ever had. I sat by the window that night watching snow drift across the porch and whispered, "This is what home feels like. Not walls, not blood, but safety and softness." But my family wasn't finished, not even close. The messages kept coming. New numbers, different tones. Threats softened into guilt. "Blake isn't eating," Mom wrote. "He's lost weight. He can't even make eggs without you." A day later, "We forgive you. Just come home," Dad said in an email. "Let's move past this. Forgive me." They called it the snow incident, as if it were a spilled drink. Not an attempted burial. I didn't reply. Didn't block them either. Just watched. Because silence says more than rage, and I wanted them to feel it. Diane noticed I was quieter. I told her a little. Not all. Just enough. She didn't pry. She just made tea, sat next to me on the couch. When I finally whispered, "They only want me back to use me," she nodded. "They don't get to want you," she said. "They gave that up the night they locked the door." Weeks passed. The quiet settled into me. I began to laugh again, softly, carefully, like testing the weight of joy. Then one night, a message arrived on my new Instagram. An account I'd made under a fake name. Just 3 photos, trees, snow, a coffee cup. It was Blake. His real profile. Still public, still proud. "Found you, servant," he wrote. Attached was a screenshot, a plane ticket to Portland. Arrival 3 days. My heart didn't race. It slowed, like everything inside me went still, cold, but not afraid. I took a screenshot of his message, backed it up, twice, then opened his profile. Gym selfies, car videos, every tag, a map of his habits. He thought finding me was the end of the story, but he'd just lit the match. I whispered to myself, "You came to finish what you started. So will I." I started with the gym photos, the ones he thought were deleted, but I'd saved them every file he'd begged me to clean off his laptop. I made a new account. No name, no face, just truth. Posted the pictures on the gym's Facebook page, tagged every woman I could identify. "Is this legal?" I wrote. "This member has been secretly photographing women and selling the images online." Within hours, comments poured in. Shock, anger, recognition. By noon, the gym had blocked him. By 3 p.m., they banned him. For life. I didn't stop there. I messaged his job's HR department, attached screenshots, racist jokes, misogynistic rants, fake sick days. The next day, I checked the company site. His name was gone. I sat by Diane's fireplace that night, blanket over my legs, laptop warm. Strike one had landed. Not out of hate, but justice. And this time, I wasn't the one being erased. I'd hoped it wouldn't come to this. But Blake booked a flight, and I believed him. He'd come. He always followed through when it came to control. So I opened the folder I'd named Final. Inside years of secrets, scans, voice memos, screenshots, everything they thought I'd forget. I created a blog, anonymous. Then I uploaded it all. Dad's tax evasion, Mom's pill sales, Blake's photos, purchases, chat logs. Receipts, emails, audio clips, no drama, just evidence. I didn't say it was me, didn't claim to be a victim, just laid out the facts, let the public connect the dots. Within hours it spread, locals shared it, comments exploded. Old neighbors, church friends, clients, they always wanted to be respected, feared. Now they were. By morning, the page had over 20,000 views. And for once, the Whitmore name didn't mean power. It meant exposure. Exactly what they feared most. The fallout came fast. Dad's phone started ringing. Clients pulling out one by one. Too risky, they said. Too messy. Mom's church group held an emergency meeting. The whispers turned to silence. Her name vanished from the newsletter. Then from the choir. Then everywhere. Blake never made it to Portland. His gym ban went public. His job dropped him without warning. He posted once something vague about betrayal, then deleted his account. Within a week, the IRS came knocking, not literally, but with letters. Cold official thick, then the DEA. Mom's prescriptions weren't invisible anymore. She lost her nursing license, probation followed, and Blake. The worst of all, two of the girls he'd photographed were underage. He didn't know. He didn't care. But the FBI did. They came with real doors, real locks, real consequences. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smile. I just closed the laptop, folded the blanket over my knees, and whispered, "This is only the beginning." 2 months later, a letter came, forwarded from my old address. No return name, but I knew the handwriting, tight, shaky, still trying to control the page. It was from Dad. 4 lines, blue ink, no apology. "You've destroyed us, your own family. How do you sleep at night? We needed you." I held it for a while, then set it down on the table. Diane watched me, didn't speak. I thought about answering, just once. To tell him where I slept now in a warm bed in a safe house, where no one locked doors as punishment, where silence wasn't fear, where I was not a servant. But I didn't write back. I burned the letter in Diane's fireplace, watched the edges curl like frostbitten skin. No rage, no victory, just peace. They'd survive the cold by locking me out, but they couldn't survive what came next, a world where I learned I never needed their warmth to begin with. I never saw them on the news, not their faces. Just a line in the local paper, "Prominent family faces federal charges." The article was short, but every sentence landed like closure. Dad avoided prison but owed more than he could ever repay. Back taxes, fines, penalties. His business dissolved overnight. Mom pled out. Rehab and probation, her license revoked. No hospital would touch her now, and Blake 5 to 7 years. The judge didn't care about excuses. Didn't flinch when Blake cried in court. Didn't buy that he didn't know. He knew. They all did. The house was sold at auction. Same front steps I stood on freezing. Now, overgrown, empty, locked from the outside. I saved the newspaper clipping, folded it neatly, tucked it in the back of my journal. Not out of spite, but to remember. Some justice comes loud. Mine came quiet. No fireworks, just the sound of doors finally closing behind someone else. Sometimes on cold nights, I take out that clipping, run my thumb over the faded ink. Not with pride, not revenge, just remembrance. I see myself barefoot on the porch, snow swallowing my ankles, fingers numb, breath shallow. A girl no one planned to rescue. Now I live in a room with a heater that hums softly, a door that locks from the inside, a bed that doesn't punish. Diane knows my story now. It came out slow like a wound unwrapping itself. She didn't flinch. She poured wine, listened, then said, "Good for you." That was all. No pity, just respect. Sometimes I still hear their voices when the night gets too quiet, but they pass like old winds, nothing more. Because here I am, not a servant, not a disappointment, not forgotten. I am Emma. I am whole, and the cold no longer owns me. 2 years have passed. Oregon feels like mine now, not a hiding place, a home I chose. I've moved up from nannying to managing Diane's small business. A local shop, nothing big, but steady, honest, mine. At night, I take online classes. Halfway to my degree, one class at a time at my own pace. I have friends, the kind who ask if I've eaten, who remember my birthday, who notice when I go quiet. I have a therapist. We meet every Thursday. She reminds me the past happened, but it doesn't define me. I used to think family was something fixed. Blood, obligation, a burden you carried. Now I know better. Family is a choice. It's who sees you, not what they expect from you. And when I look around my life now, I see a family I built, one kind word at a time, one safe day after another. I wasn't saved. I stepped out and saved myself. Last week, another letter came. Forwarded again. Same shaky handwriting, this time from Mom. I stared at it for a while before opening it by the window. Rain tapped softly on the glass, like the past trying to sneak back in. Inside 3 short lines We're sorry. We understand now. Trevor is getting help. Dad has changed. Please come home. We need you. Not miss you, not love you, need. Need a cook, need a cleaner, need someone to carry the blame again. I folded the letter slowly. No anger, no pain, just clarity. They still hadn't learned. They were cold people begging for warmth. From the one they tried to freeze. That night, I burned it. Same way I burned the first. The flame curled the paper, soft and final. I watched until it turned to ash, then stood, made tea, and went back to a life that never once asked me to kneel. They called me a servant, said girls like me belonged outside, said obedience was love, but servants only sleep outside when they have nowhere else to go. I have everywhere else now, every open door, every warm room, every place where respect isn't earned through pain. I don't flinch at footsteps anymore. I don't shrink at raised voices. I don't wait to be chosen, because I chose myself. I see girls like me sometimes, quiet ones always apologizing. I want to reach out. Say, you're not crazy. They just taught you to doubt yourself. But I don't push, just offer space. Like Diane did for me, freedom doesn't always come with sirens or signs. Sometimes it comes in silence, in hot tea, in a locked door from the inside. They tried to teach me my place. They did. And now I know it. Now I live it. And it's nowhere near them. Sometimes people still ask, do you talk to your family? I just smile, say no. But I remember them. Not with hate, not even sadness. Just distance measured and firm. When someone says my name now, Emma, it's not followed by orders. Not shouted from upstairs, not dragged through cold air. It's said softly, with warmth, with choice. At the cafe, I manage regulars remember me, not for being quiet, but for listening. A little girl down this street draws me pictures of the moon, says I remind her of it because you're calm and always there. I keep them on the fridge. My name used to be something they called out, only when they needed something. Now it's mine, full, whole, free of their hands, and when I hear it, even from strangers, it no longer hurts. It lands gently like a promise kept. They tried to take everything, my voice, my worth, even the heat from my skin, but they never understood. You can't steal what you never gave. They didn't give me love, only rules. Didn't give me safety, only silence. Didn't give me guidance, only commands. So when I walked away, they didn't lose a daughter. They lost control. They've spent years trying to call it back, with guilt, with threats, with need. But there's nothing left for them here. No piece of me still waiting, no frozen girl hoping to be seen. I don't belong to them. Not in name, not in memory, not in obligation. I used to think healing meant going back and trying again. Now I know healing is choosing peace without needing permission. They taught me what a locked door feels like, and now I use it every day to keep my joy safe. I became the one thing they warned me never to be: independent, unbothered, free. They said girls like me shouldn't live alone, shouldn't speak too loud, shouldn't dream too big. But now I run a business, manage people, solve problems without asking for permission. I walk through the world with steady steps, shoulders no longer curled inward. I don't ask if I'm allowed, I decide. And that more than anything is what they feared, because it proves they were wrong. About me, about everything. They built their power on the idea that I'd stay small, obedient, grateful for scraps. Instead, I built a life with both hands from nothing. And every time I laugh without looking over my shoulder, every time I stand tall without shrinking to fit their shape, I become the version of me they tried to erase. And she's stronger than they ever imagined. They always talked about legacy, Dad especially. Whitmore means something he'd say, as if the name alone could clean the mess beneath it. But now, the house is gone. The business collapsed. Their name whispered with shame, not respect. Blake's sentence made local headlines, then vanished like he always thought his mistakes would. Mom keeps a low profile now. No choir, no prescriptions, no stage to pretend on. And me, I'm not hiding anymore. Not running, just living quietly, freely, fully. Their legacy ends with them. No one left to carry it forward. Because I refuse to. I'm not their redemption arc, not the dutiful daughter who returns to forgive. I'm the one who walked away and meant it. Every step I take builds a different legacy, one of choice, not chains, kindness, not control. They built walls to trap me. I build doors so no one else has to beg to be let in. No confetti, no headlines with my name, just mornings filled with peace. And that's enough. Victory doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's silent, soft as coffee brewing while rain taps gently on the windowsill. Sometimes it's knowing I don't flinch at footsteps anymore, that I sleep through the night without dreams of cold porches and locked doors. They tried to teach me that love must be earned through pain, that obedience was safety. But every quiet morning I wake up warm, every evening I choose what's mine. I rewrite that lesson. I no longer fear disappearing, because I'm not gone. I'm here, present, rooted, not hidden in shadows, but bathed in light they never gave. This peace, it doesn't come with medals, but it wraps around me like a second skin. And if that's not victory, I don't know what is. Sometimes I still see her, the girl I used to be, standing barefoot in the snow, hand pressed to a locked door. She doesn't scare me anymore. She reminds me of what I survived, of what I chose. I don't erase her. She walks beside me, not as shame, but as proof. She kept breathing when no one opened the door. She stayed alive. When the world told her she didn't matter. And because of her, I know the difference now between survival and living, between silence and peace. Some nights I light a candle and place it by the window. Not for them, not in mourning, but as a signal. To any girl out there still standing in the cold, still waiting to be let in, you don't have to wait. You can turn, you can walk. There is warmth beyond their reach, and you deserve all of it. They always said I needed to learn, respect, gratitude, knowing my place. But all their lessons came with pain, punishment dressed as discipline, silence mistaken for obedience. Now I teach myself different things. How to rest without guilt, how to say no without flinching, how to ask for nothing and still feel full. I used to wonder if I was broken, too cold, too distant, too much. But the truth is, I was frozen, kept numb by people who needed me small. Now I feel everything, warmth, laughter, even sadness, and I welcome it because it's real, because it's mine. Their last lesson was supposed to break me. That night in the snow, that door in my face, but instead, it opened something else, a life beyond fear, a strength they never meant to plant. They taught me to serve. I taught myself to rise. I don't owe them closure, not a visit, not a phone call, not even a final word. Freedom doesn't knock on old doors just to explain why it left. They want me to come back and play the quiet role again, pretend it was all misunderstanding, rewrite the cold into memory, but I won't. Because freedom isn't polite. It doesn't apologize for healing. It doesn't ask for permission to move forward. I walk through markets now, choose fruit with soft skin, talk to strangers without fear in my throat. That's freedom. I walk home in the dark, unbothered. No one waits to punish me inside. That's freedom. They can say I'm ungrateful, that I abandoned them, that I changed, and they'd be right. I did change because staying would have meant becoming just like them. I chose to live fully, freely, far away from locked doors. I heard they lost the house, the one with the red shutters, the drafty porch, and the lock that clicked behind me that night. Foreclosure notice, public record. No one talks about it out loud, but everyone in town knows. I found a photo online, boarded windows, overgrown lawn, a mailbox leaning sideways like it gave up. I saved the picture, not for revenge, but as a reminder. That place tried to bury me. In silence, in snow, in servitude. Now it sits empty while I am full. Of voice, of warmth, of life. Sometimes when it's cold, I look at that photo. Let myself remember how it felt, the bite of wind, the ache in my bones. The sound of the bolt sliding shut, then I close the tab, wrap the blanket tighter, and say softly to no one, they're the ones locked out now. After the house fell, my story didn't stay quiet. Local news picked it up first, family abuse hidden in plain sight, then a national podcast called, then a women's shelter asked if they could share the blog. At first, I hesitated, not because I was afraid, but because I wasn't sure if I wanted to be known by my past. But then I thought of her again, that girl in the snow, waiting, silent, ashamed, so I said yes. The blog spread fast, not as gossip, but as survival. Other girls wrote in, I thought I was alone. I never told anyone. I see myself in you. I didn't answer them all, but I read every word because now my story isn't just mine. It's a map for anyone trying to leave the cold. I never asked to be seen, but if my truth brings someone else into the light, then let them see everything. Diane knew the full story by then. It had made its way around. People whispered, glanced, waited to see if she'd send me away. But she didn't. She brought home flowers, set them quietly on the kitchen table. No speech, no questions, just presence. That night, she made dinner. Let me sit, let me breathe. After the dishes, she poured wine, passed me a glass, and said only, good for you. Those 3 words wrapped around me softer than any apology I'd ever begged for. No judgment, no pity, just knowing. The kids didn't treat me differently. Still left crumbs, still called for help with socks and snacks. To them, I wasn't broken. I was just Emma, the one who stayed, the one who cared. This wasn't blood, but it was family, the kind that doesn't demand loyalty. It offers love, freely, gently, without locks. Life didn't turn perfect overnight, but it became mine. One small step at a time. I finished my first college class, then another. Each assignment felt like reclaiming space they told me wasn't worth taking. At the shop, I started leading shifts, handling orders, managing people who looked to me, not through me. I still had hard days, nights where the cold crawled back in, old echoes whispering, you're nothing without them. But I answered now, firm, quiet. I was never theirs to begin with. I bought a second coat, not because I needed it, but because I could. Signed my name on forms without hesitation, spoke up in meetings, laughed out loud without watching for approval. Each act, small ordinary, felt like rebellion, like healing disguised as living. And slowly I stopped counting distance in miles from them. I started measuring life in joy and peace, in mornings I no longer feared. I haven't heard from them in months. No calls, no emails, no more forwarded letters. Maybe they finally understood. Maybe they finally gave up. Or maybe they're still watching, waiting for the right moment to pull me back in. But it doesn't matter, because I've built a life without a return address. No path back, no door left open. I no longer dream of them. No more cold porches, no more locked doors, no more begging to be seen. Now I dream of the kids laughing, of flour dusted on countertops, of Diane humming while she waters the plants. Simple things, safe things. I used to think closure came from confrontation, from making them say I'm sorry. But closure came the moment I stopped needing that, the moment I realized their voices held no power here. This silence, it isn't absence, it's peace, and I earned every second of it. They survived the cold by locking me out, but they didn't survive what came after, a world without me in it. I used to wonder if I'd ever feel whole, if warmth could be more than a borrowed blanket in a stranger's car. Now I know. Warmth is laughter in the kitchen, hands that pass you a mug, not a command. It's a room you're invited into, a name spoken gently, a life that doesn't require you to shrink. The girl they left in the snow isn't gone. She lives in me, stronger, wiser, standing tall. And when winter comes, I don't fear it. I wear my coat, light the fire, wrap soft things around me because I don't wait for doors to open anymore. I walk through the ones I build, on my own terms, in my own time. This isn't revenge, it's not escape, it's freedom. And this warmth, it's mine. If this story stayed with you, if you've ever stood in the cold or found your way back to warmth, tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe. The next chapter might be yours.